if Mercedes Lewis is a surprise cut. But I just haven't heard much about the tight ends in general during training camp, which kind of surprises me considering everyone was talking about how this is much more tight end friendly offense.
Yeah, they've been a little more quieter, but I mean, Graham has been in there, but it's just not been in how we've been wanting to hear. He has had some drops the past couple practices, and again today with the Texans, he had 3 drops. Rodgers put it where only he could get it and hit Graham right in the midst, and he dropped it. It's just something we've grown accustomed to, and the only reason Rodgers had 2 interceptions last year was it because they came off of Jimmy Graham's big old stone mitts. And that's why my prediction is I think old Bill Belichick, after 2 or 3 preseason games, calls up and says, I need a tight end. Who you got? You trade him Jimmy Graham, get him the veteran tight end. They love having those guys in New England. You're with Tanyan, you're with Lewis, and you're with Sternberger, and the trade saves you $9 million in cap. That's what I think.
I just don't want Jimmy Graham on this team if he's not going to show any signs of being any better than his terrible self last year.
No, there's not going to be an improvement. But if there's a team for him to go to and at least thrive on, I think it's the Patriots, because I think it's more of a built-in system for them to how they use their tight ends. And
yeah. All right, let's go to the O-line. So we're getting long. We're getting long in the tooth, and we got to do defense, and I want to let you go through
your long in the tooth.
Bears roster. Well, we got past the part that we argue about the more, so we can hit turbo drive now, so we don't end up spending a whole 3 hours and not getting into the Bears people, and they being pissed at us.
All right, Ryan, what's your offensive line like for the Packers?
All right, so you've got Bakhtiari, Lane Taylor, Corey Linsley, Billy Turner, Brian Bulaga, obviously the starters. Elton Jenkins, he's on this team. Alex Light, because of recent transactions, he's definitely on this team. I think Lucas Patrick makes the team. I think Cole Madison makes this team. And I think at that point, perhaps a surprise could be Josh Neiman.
He's looked good. He just has to work on his footwork from what I've seen in camp. His hands have been lightning, but his feet have just been getting twisted up, and he's been stepping on himself.
Yeah. So, did I say Lucas Patrick?
Yes. The one guy I know of is DeBeer.
Yeah, I don't really, to be honest, I haven't heard a whole lot about him, so I really couldn't.
He's 50-50. I think he's like 6-6 in 1v1s and team drills, and he's been hit and miss.
All right, what you got, Dave, for yours? What do you got? Like that's what, like 9? Then you're saying, Ryan, like 9? You're 9.
So I've got that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9.
All right. What do you got, Dave?
I'm going to go ahead. David Bakhtiari at left tackle, Bulaga at right tackle, Billy Turner at right guard, Corey Linsley at center, and I'm starting Elton Jenkins at left guard. I'm sorry, Lane Taylor is getting beat in camp. He's getting beat by Clark. He's getting beat by rookies like Gary. He's getting beat with Darius Smith. What I saw happen last year with Goldman and Hicks, they tore him apart. I can't have any faith in him. If he's doing the same, if he's letting our guys doing the same thing, why am I not to think he's going to do it again? I want to keep Taylor on as a bench player, but I think Jenkins needs to start. Anything I've read about this kid with Jenkins,
you keep Taylor on the bench, and you're paying $4.5 million to a bench player.
Jenkins has been getting such good rapport in camp. The guy, everyone's saying he's playing mean. He's playing like he's ready to have a fight. And I love that, because linemen, you need to get ready to freaking have a fight come when you got Goldman and Hicks and Mack running stunt blitzes on you on week one. And Jenkins has played against SEC talent and given up 2 pressures in all of his career. I think he's ready. He was a reason why he was one of the highest interior linemen selected in the draft. I don't think Taylor has what it takes.
What's your final number?
I keep Taylor on. My final number count is 9. The one that ends up not making it is Patrick.
All right, and I know I said before, I was saying I was with Ryan. I was at 9 or 10, but here's the thing, Ryan. I forgot about special teams. That's 3 spots, right? Because you got to have a long snapper. That's league rules.
Yeah.
So that it became a numbers problem, and therefore I went through on the offensive line, and I tried to think of guys that were standing out and could also play multiple positions as a backup. So I actually only ended up with 8 offensive linemen, only because of the numbers game, and there's just so many guys in the defensive side that I think are really going to make this team. And this is where the roster started to get real kind of condensed because there's so many linemen that you really like. So I ended up starting from left tackle all the way to backup. I have Bakhtiari, Jenkins, Lindsley, Turner, Balaga, Madison, Patrick, and Light. Taylor, he was downhill last season. He's $4.5 million. He's 28, 29 years old. You get rid of him a year too late, then a year too early. $4.5 million cap hit. You're not keeping him to sit on the bench. If it's anywhere close, you're giving it up to any of these other young guys at guard. Jenkins has been a beast. Light is obviously getting a lot of work from Bakhtiari and been showing a lot of improvement. And Patrick is right now, you could compare him to Lane Taylor, but you're going to keep Patrick over Lane Taylor because he's just a backup and you don't have to pay him. So, and he's
only
actually
$525,000.
Right, you've got, and he's still got upside to grow, whereas Taylor is on his way down, in my opinion. He's just serviceable right now at best. And actually, I see Lane Taylor being traded to the New York Jets for a conditional 7th-round pick by week 3 of the preseason. He's an upgrade at their guard position. They need offensive linemen. He's a lot better than who they have playing left or right guard right now. And so I could see them as a team that reaches out. And the Packers have a great rapport with that front office in New York. So there's only 8 offensive linemen, even though I've been beating the table 9 or 10. It was just became a numbers game when it came because of the special teams that I forgot. So.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that being how it plays out.
Okay, well, let's move to defense then. Start on the D line there, bud. I got
All
1,
right.
2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 on the D line. What do you guys got?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I've got 6. So I've got Dean Lowry, Kenny Clark, Montravius Adams, and then Kingsley Keke, and then I've got Fidel Brown and Tyler Lancaster making it.
I left
That
Brown
is
off.
That's exactly how I have it, Ryan. Is I have 6.
The only guy I don't have on there is Brown because I only kept 5. So we identically have it's just the numbers there. And if I would have kept 6, Brown would have been my 6. So there's nothing to argue there. I think Brown makes this.
He had some solid tape last year.
He's a good player. It's just again this is where where it comes down when I was doing this. There's a lot of players that you really like that you're hoping somebody else won't pick up so you can have them around to put him in because there's going to be injuries. So, yeah, Brown was on my bubble list, and just numbers surely is the only reason why he didn't make my defensive line list. That's the only reason. All right, let's move to outside linebackers. I got 6. I got 6 outside linebackers. What do you guys got?
Go ahead, Ryan.
This to me was a hard one. I've only got 4 right now. I need to see these guys play. I just have the big 4 right now: Preston Smith, Kyler Fackrell, Zadarius Smith, and Rashawn Gary. At this point, I just don't believe or trust in any of the other guys that are just on this team right now until I see something, in these preseason games. I just have 4.
I have 5. I have Gary is Darius Smith, Kyler Fackrell, Preston Smith, but my fifth is Reggie Gilbert. I think he still has some value there, especially his depth, if injuries do occur. But I just, with Gilbert, keeping him, especially still with Clay and Perry walking, I think that helps. But yeah, I'm keeping 5 for OLB.
All right, I've got Smith, Gary Fackrell, Gilbert, and Donnerson. Gilbert and Donnerson have special teams value, and also those guys, if you look at them, are almost identical as far as the way they build and can also put their hand in the dirt because of the way they played in college. So they become versatility as backup players, and both were good on special teams last year. That's what people, when you're developing this, I had to start considering guys that can also provide pass rush depth and versatility on defense, but also the all-important being a stellar star on special teams, because that's a point of emphasis that we have not had in Green Bay in 13 seasons.
Next up, inside linebackers.
I got 4.
I'm sure we have the same.
Yeah.
Blake Martinez, obviously, Oren Burks, and then I've got Ty Summers and James Crawford.
Yep, identical.
Yep, same ones. 4, same guys even.
All right, move on. That was easy.
DBs. Now the
DBs. I want to say corner specifically.
Well, I went all DBs because of the DBs here and the way they play their defensive back packages. A lot of these guys are hybrid corners, safeties, depending on whether you're playing dollar, dime,
hybrid nickel positions.
Right. They've got a lot. So I just went general DBs. And because of the DBs, this is the deepest and yet rawest group and the hardest one. And so I kept a ton, but there's a ton of guys that could be bubble guys, traded, cut, or whatever, and then that switches up your numbers everywhere else. There's a lot. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 DBs altogether.
Ooh, let's see here. All right, so I didn't group them like that. I definitely just did cornerbacks and safety separate. But here's what I got. I've got a cornerback. I've got, obviously, Jair, Kevin King, Tramon Williams, Tony Brown, Kadar Holman, and Josh Jackson. Although I will say Kavion Ento is starting to make some waves.
He's growing.
He's starting to make some waves. But for now, I have those 6 cornerbacks. And then at safety, Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, Raven Green, and Josh Jones. So I guess that would be 10.
You have the identical 10 DBs I have, Ryan. The identical 10 DBs.
Yep.
I have almost identical except one. I think Josh Jones does get traded. I think he gets moved for a pick or maybe another player. But I think Latrell Jamerson, he's been making noise in camp too. Josh Jones did end up getting in a fight and wasn't too LaFleur wasn't too happy because of the way he went about it. But still, I don't know. I don't think he belongs in a defense with coverage. He needs to be like a true strong safety up towards the line. And if they're going to use him in any part of coverage, I don't like it. I'd rather have Jamerson. That's my 10. I have the 10 exactly, but switch out Josh Jones with Jamerson.
Yeah, that was a possibility. I've got Jamerson interchangeable with Jones, depending on how that plays out, if they do trade him or not.
I'm not going to argue with that either, just because that's a trade scenario I didn't project there, but he is the one guy. The other one that I added him at the end, because if you can't trade Jones, if Jones happens to have a great preseason, whatever, an epiphany or whatever, okay.
Jay and I talked about this.
I believe that he would stay, and I think the odd man out then would be the elder statesman Williams, because I think you're going to hang on to guys that are young, cheap, and ascending, whereas Williams look, as much as I love him, he was a speedster. That was his greatest strength. He lost his legs 4 seasons ago. Like, he doesn't run the way he used to.
True. I mean, but that's why they're playing him in nickel corner, though, because 2 years ago when he played for Arizona,